Oh, boom, boom. All right. Brett, man, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for
Definitely,
having me.
definitely do. So, what we're here to talk about is your experience, especially I think that people would love to hear about this as a coach with True Capacity going through the national challenge, right? And for those of you that don't know, there was a prestige national challenge, an 8-week challenge where we could rock and roll and you could win some money, you could win prizes, you can do all kinds of stuff. Predominantly, what we do at True Capacity is run a 6-week or an 8-week challenge to get people rolling. Brett jumped into the 8. We just wrapped it. What was that? A few weeks ago, roughly.
Yeah, like last week, I think.
Yeah,
Was it? Yeah,
like
right
maybe a
before
week ago.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're here to talk about. And Brett, floor is yours, man.
Yeah. So we started 2 months ago. Me and a client of mine, Chris. He also was a part of the challenge, and it taught me a ton. I mean, I learned so much about. I already know a lot about diet and nutrition, but being able to see it and utilize it even more so was just a great learning experience for me, and being able to do it alongside one of my clients helped me learn a lot as a coach, and helped me just understand that I know what I'm talking about, just more proof or more evidence saying like I know what I'm talking about, I can make it happen. And shout out to my client Chris House. He's a good friend of mine. I've been working with him for about a year. We took a full day and just went over his meal prep, like how we want to tackle this the best. And we both did it exactly the same way together. We both lost roughly 11 or 12 pounds each, and gained a ton of muscle. But it was just a huge learning experience for me as a coach and just as a person in general, that's pursuing, trying to lose weight, trying to get in better shape and things like that.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, with it being with Prestige, right? With Prestige Labs, with supplementation being part of the dealio, like, first of all, walk me through what your experience with supplements was before, and how do you feel about them now?
Yeah, I've always people who have known me in the past know that I used to have like a gym bag full of stuff, and I've learned since then I don't necessarily need all that stuff to get a good workout
Mhm.
or to get into shape. But Prestige, the stack that they gave us was perfect because I mean, like all the ingredients and stuff, everything in there is like the best of the best, and typically I don't promote fat burners or anything, but their fat burner, like the way that they put it together and how and all the ingredient, I've never seen a fat burner that didn't have caffeine in it, which was awesome. Like typically you see caffeine in the more cheaper products because it's an easy thing to throw in there to give you some energy or whatever. But this one, I mean, it actually like me and Chris both were talking about how great that was. My mom also was a part of the challenge, and me and her were talking about the benefits of sleep and how their sleep aid was such a huge piece of it. Like getting a full night's rest and waking up, um, just energized and not like
Mhm.
sluggish all day. Like most sleep aids will make you just feel like you're drunk when you wake up and stuff. But having their sleep aid there that like you get a nice full 8 hours of sleep, you go right into your REM cycle super early. Yeah, I mean, like that's a huge piece of it too. People don't realize how important sleep is when it comes to weight loss. So being able to get my 7 or 8 hours was a huge thing and has been a struggle of mine in the past. So using that super helpful. And then like the vegetable powder and the greens powder and the intro workout stuff, both were really great. I mean, I liked having that because I didn't have to think about that stuff as much when it's right there in a powder form. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the burn AM, burn PM, the powdered greens, the intra for soreness, and then did you have any kind of protein powder while you were doing this, procedure otherwise?
yeah, I mean, I typically with protein powder, I use whatever whey supplement. Like typically
Mhm.
I can find them pretty cheap or whatever. So
Yeah,
I like Prestige's better because one, it tastes better, and two, it digests a lot better. It's easier on my stomach.
lactose.
Yeah,
That
exactly. So
is.
um but yeah, I mean typically I just use a whey protein if whatever I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
So
No, I totally hear you there. Yeah, the I mean, as far as prestige protein is concerned, with the vanilla, the cookies and cream, and the chocolate, I pretty much just roll between the chocolate and the cookies and cream. I don't really mess with the vanilla unless it's in Greek yogurt. So I'd totally
yeah,
get you there.
yeah.
I mean, being in fitness and health and helping other people with their journeys all the time, like what would you say the biggest revelation or the epiphany or the biggest lesson learned for you as a coach in this 8 weeks?
Wow. Prioritizing protein. I know you've talked a lot about this online, and that's the first step with every client that I have when it comes to nutrition is how important it is just to prioritize protein. If you can do that, you're 90% of the way there. So there was a week in this challenge that I was on vacation, and like I know that I don't necessarily have to restrict myself when it comes to my diet, but
Mhm.
I do know that what's helped me in the past is order and structure. So I did kind of have those restrictions just for me because that's just how my brain works. But that one week, I'm in Mexico and my phone doesn't really work that well. I can't really track my macros, my weight. Bringing a weight scale over to Mexico doesn't really look too great in TSA for TSA purposes and stuff. So I left that at home. But like I actually, in the time that I was in Mexico, it kind of opened my eyes up to the lack of restricting that I needed because I just in those days I prioritized my protein every day. There was a couple of meals in there where it was chicken and rice, but for the most part, I mean, I was eating tacos, I was eating fajitas, I was still working out, and I walked to the gym every day, which was a 30-minute walk there and back, or 30 minutes total. So I mean, when I got back, I ended up losing more weight in a shorter period of time than I did in the times where everything was super structured. So if that doesn't speak to restrictions and stuff and how it can be a lot easier if you just, really prioritize certain things, um, then I don't know what else will. So but yeah, like that time in Mexico, I think was the biggest eye opener for me because like I said, my whole life struggling with focusing on my diet and like really pushing myself to the limits, realizing that I can kind of, take it back a notch and still make just as much progress, if not more, from giving my body like a little bit of leeway. Yeah, that was probably the biggest learning experience for me.
No, that's solid, especially with the amount of experience you have in coaching
Yeah.
to hit that and see that in your journey in eight
Mhm.
weeks this far along in your coaching journey sounds
Yeah.
super solid to me.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your walking. How did that change? Like all the exercise outside of the gym, what did that look like pre-challenge and what did it look like during?
Okay. So I used to be crazy when it came to my cardio. I used
Mhm.
to think that, not even before challenge, but before I was a coach, like a trainer,
Mhm.
I would spend 20 to 30 minutes on the Stairmaster just sprinting upstairs for, for every day of the week. And I realized very quickly that I was burning my body out. And so like approaching the challenge, I cut my cardio in half, focused mostly just on my weightlifting, my resistance training, all that stuff, and doing cardio every other day. And then the days that I didn't do cardio, I might throw in some like core activation or some stretching or whatever. And I also implemented more rest days in there too. That help. Like I used to never have rest days, and I would go certain amounts of time with like 2 rest days a week sometimes. And like I said, I mean, like stuff like that really teaches me that doing isn't necessarily better. It's just being better and taking care of yourself is what's going to get you to that goal. So,
Okay, so you actually you
yeah,
cut down a
yeah,
lot of your in gym or out of gym exercise. You're
yeah,
not the man in a stringer at the gym on the
yeah.
treadmill for the next hour and a half, right? That's not
Right.
you.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Okay, dude. Some of the biggest dudes are chilling on the treadmill for an hour and a half after they're done working out,
I know.
walking on an incline.
I know.
Goodness. What do you think was the most difficult thing across the 8 weeks?
I think the most difficult thing was I want to say like honestly, the challenge really wasn't that tough because it felt like I was kind of getting back to my roots, but also implementing the stuff that I've learned since I've done something like this, like a cut or something like that. It's implementing a lot of the self-care aspects of it and not just push, 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 push. Um, I would say the toughest part really was the time before, you know, about 3 weeks prior to this challenge. I wasn't really. I was still coaching people. I was still, maintaining and staying on my diet, but not as strictly as I could have been. And seeing myself in that time prior to the challenge, looking at myself in the mirror and not being satisfied was probably the toughest part. I mean, I'm somebody that struggled with body dysmorphia that I've had to work through. I grew up a chubby kid, so like seeing myself a little heavier, that was really tough. And I think when I started the 8-week challenge, that's when things got easier because I don't care what anybody says, there is no food that tastes better than looking the way you want to in the mirror. And I think that I truly think that maybe the time before the challenge was more difficult. And also when your diet's not great, you're not moving well, your body doesn't work the way it's supposed to, you're not thinking the way you're supposed to. You just feel sluggish and slow. And when you start to like really implement those little things, it changes. Like those little changes make massive, massive improvements. So it really made a huge difference.
Is that Brett Owens talking about daily deposits again? Is that what I hear?
Yes.
Is that what I hear? That broken record that I
Yes,
hear
sir.
online all the time?
Yes, sir.
James and protein, Brett and daily deposits. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man. Yeah, no, love to hear that. So last thing and we'll wrap here, man. I appreciate you being willing to chat about this.
Yep.
For anyone that's on the fence, whether it be a coach that's coming on the team that's watching this, that is like, I don't know about supplements or doing a challenge, or someone that's on a front end consultation or meets with you, me, Dan, Anna, Jess, anyone, right? And it's like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I can do it. Or I'm on the fence. Like it seems like it could be for me, but this is going to come in the way, or it's money, or it's time, or it's New Year's right around the corner. Like, what would you say to them?
I was actually thinking about this just before we were talking. It's weight loss, of course, is a beautiful thing. It's what everybody wants to do. Anytime anybody comes to me, of course, it's weight loss that they want to do. My thing, the one thing that I push to all my clients is I want your lifestyle. I want you to get into a lifestyle change that makes your life easier and makes this feel easier, more doable. And it's about unraveling what makes you what makes you comfortable, your lifestyle that you have now, throwing in these new little pieces, wrapping it back up so that you can be comfortable in a healthier version of yourself. And that's the thing that I tell everybody. It's about changing your life more than it is anything else. When you feel that, and you've heard it 1,000 times, I've said it 1,000 times, when you feel that fulfillment of I can accomplish these goals, I can do this stuff, that only it changes everything. It changes your physical self, your relationships, your finances, your job, all that stuff. When you prove to yourself I can do this, that just keeps leaking into everything else that you do. So that's my biggest thing with people is I want to help you change your life rather than just help you lose weight in a couple of weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A sustainable lifestyle change.
Yeah.
You want to get them to a place where this is a habit, right? Whether they're with or without you down the road. Is that
exactly? Yeah. I tell
Awesome.
everybody I'm working myself out of a job. I want you to be at a place where you no longer need me and I can just help you kind of implement those little tweaks that you need to fix in your life.
Where if someone is going to stay long term, it's because they want the extra accountability, they want the extra capability to change faster. They're empowered to do it themselves, but if they want to stay, it's because they want the extra stuff.
And trust me, I'm happy to stick with people as long as they want to stick with me. So whatever they want to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, dude, I really appreciate you being willing to come in here and chat about goals. Dude, it's always a great time to catch up. And I hope that this helps whoever's watching it.
Yeah,
For
me
sure.
too. Me too. Thank you.
Absolutely.